Well, I am Mickey W. Cochran. I was not born in Utah. My father was a career Navy man, actually a World War II Pearl Harbor survivor. And so I've grown up all over the United States in particular, and I've lived quite a bit in the Orient. But I first came to Orem, Utah in 1968 as a young midshipman. I was then attending the University of Utah after having spent a year at SC in California. And as I drove through Utah, or through Orem, it was mainly Highway 89 as you came down. It was not very large. I was young then, of course, and was not that impressed with Orem City other than as a byway for me to go to BYU to participate in a competition there. After my next time in Orem came in end of 1974 as a young married man. My wife and I had married in April of 1974. I was then a student at Brigham Young University, and we moved down, about 8 months after we were married, to Orem. We lived in the El Toro Apartments. That was on 200 South and 200 East in Orem, right behind Bill and Iva's Cafe, which many of you might remember who are viewing this. Bill Olson, Iva Olson, great people, great little cafe, mom and pop, the life of Orem at that time. Kathy and I lived there as I completed my final year at Brigham Young University, and I was hired to teach, graduating in December of 1975, and following the birth of our first child, who was born here in Orem, I was hired to teach in the Nebo School District at Park Elementary School, the fourth grade. And the fourth grade at that time comprised 43 students. It was the smaller of the two fourth grade classes, much different than what we are experiencing today, and the great growth of Alpine School District, which premier school district in the state of Utah, and probably in the United States. Of course, I know many of the educators there. But during that first year of teaching elementary school, I was hired by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to teach in the church educational system and their seminary and institutes program. So in 1976, Kathy and I moved from Orem to Huntington, Utah, which, if you go to Price, you turn right, and 20 miles later, you get to Huntington. It's the first place you get to. I taught in Huntington at the seminary in Huntington and at Castledale at Emory County High School for 9 years. I also, during that time, completed a master's degree and taught half a day at the College of Eastern Utah in the Institute of Religion. It was decided that Kathy and I decided I wanted to pursue a doctorate. So I took the GRE. I was accepted at several major universities throughout the United States, but I decided to attend Brigham Young University because the program at BYU in instructional science was considered number 2 in the nation, and so there was no need to go anyplace else. So Kathy and I, with our 4 children, moved to Orem, Utah. We've lived in the same house on the same corner for the past 36 years. When we got to Orem, we decided that we would be active in the community. Now, behind us, where we lived, there were no homes. It was all orchard all the way to 800 North. And to the east of us, there were very few homes. It was mostly open. That has since all filled in. Orem has grown amazingly. When Kathy and I first came to Orem in 1975, or the end of 1974, Center Street ended at about 400 East, right in front of the Stake Center. It was gravel road from there on. There was no access down into Provo, drop off the hill into what is now known as River Woods. Carterville Road was one of the main arteries, and it has since become a not-so-main artery, but it is currently the only ranch road in Orem, Utah. I have seen growth in Orem. I participated in building many of the homes by installing marble, which I did on a part-time basis. But anyway, we're back here, pursuing the doctorate. So we decided that we would be active in our community. So we participated in city council meetings. We participated in many different things while I was pursuing my doctorate. And upon completion of my doctorate, I, of course, continued to teach at Brigham Young University, but got involved in the local political scene, just on some of the campaigns. If you'll remember, in 1989 and 1990, we had that large 7 candidates running for Congress here in Utah County. I was a campaign manager for one of those candidates. And we were not successful, of course, but I learned a valuable lesson that people are vicious in the political realm. And it was not in my demeanor to be that kind of a person. I believe more, as my mother taught me, you catch a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So I decided to be involved in the local community and got involved in many committees, many neighborhood organizations, and came to know a lot of the business people, the city fathers and mothers, as we would call them, and the residents of Orem at large. I've had businesses as I've taught. I've also had owned businesses. I was there's not a whole lot I haven't done. We owned restaurants. I had a computer business. Helped develop the first interactive software training on CD-ROM. It's just an amazing thing. And these are back in the 90s, of course. Since that time, I've gotten even more actively involved in Orem, in the residential community organization and in the development of the neighborhood plans. Also, I was asked to serve on the Board of Adjustments, which I did for a while before I was appointed to serve on the Orem City Planning Commission. I have served on the Planning Commission now for nearly 6 years and currently serve as chairman of the Planning Commission. I've seen a lot of things come across our desk and learned a great deal about the inner workings of our community. I've interacted with the residents, I've interacted with the city leaders, and I just think, bottom line, I am simply the best candidate running for Orem City Council at the present time. Well, number one, I believe, is to maintain the family-friendly atmosphere that Orem represents, but also understanding that Orem needs to grow. It has to grow. We're a landlocked community. We cannot grow out. We must grow in and up. And as a city councilman, of course, having been involved in the development of a lot of these zoning ordinances and city planning, and serving on the Planning Commission and being a part of the business community in Orem, I would like to see the growth of those businesses and opportunities that are family friendly. But Orem needs to expand their tax base, and being that we're intersected by so many state roads, State Street being one, University Parkway, 800 North. Orem has some main arteries that are owned by the state, which present interesting challenges for the growth of our great city, interesting challenges in maintaining our family-friendly atmosphere, and interesting challenges in providing affordable and moderate income housing for those that would like to move here and be a part of this. A lot of them are your children. My children have had that opportunity, and they all live in Orem. In fact, my son and his wife, with our 5 grandchildren, our only 5 grandchildren, were able to purchase the house across the street from where they grew up. So it's that opportunity is not necessarily available to some of those children who are rising up. So as a city councilman or a city council member, I would indeed maintain the family-friendly atmosphere of Orem and build up the business community also. As I mentioned before, Orem's biggest strengths are the families, the residential districts. But one of the even bigger strengths is the education of the people of Orem. We are a highly educated community. And we are a highly diverse community too, as far as our likes and dislikes, our needs and wants. And I know that mainly the people of Orem would like to maintain this family-friendly atmosphere as well as increase our tax base. And that can be done. I know that one of the big issues confronting Orem is the traffic situation. But again, I can mention that we have 3 state highways that run through our community that present interesting traffic problems. We have the BRT. On our future long-range plan, we have either BRT down State Street or a TRAX line that comes down State Street. We have interesting challenges that face our community, and we can do it all if we have vision. I currently believe that our city leaders, those who are employed by the city, most of them have that vision. They desire what is best because most of them live here in Orem. And their desire is to see Orem as a safe, productive, highly educated, and a high-tech, business-friendly community. Biggest issues is growth. Orem will continue to grow. A big issue in Orem is to have affordable and moderate income housing. Those are 2 different animals, right? They're affordable and moderate income housing. We want our children close to us. We want our grandchildren close to us, if that is possible. And the only way to do that is to provide good planning so that affordable and moderate income housing can be built here. With that comes a unique problem of traffic flow. Again, I mentioned the 3 state highways that crisscross Orem. Those are main arterial roads. We can address and have addressed this as far as the State Street Master Corridor Plan, which would allow for community-friendly neighborhoods to be developed. We have the Geneva Road Master Plan, which in conjunction with the state of Utah can be a major positive influence on Orem itself. Our children do not necessarily desire, and grandchildren do not necessarily desire, those of my age, to have a big home with a big yard, garden, lawn, and all the other things that are necessary to take care of those things. And with our current issue of water, Orem, of course, has lots of water available to them, and are looking forward-thinking plan of new water storage facilities that will provide the necessary water for the city and sewer and all the infrastructure that we discuss. We can maintain our family-friendly neighborhoods, and I have been involved in part of that maintenance of family-friendly neighborhoods by passing certain zoning ordinances or being involved in the planning and development of certain zoning ordinances that will not allow major companies to come in and buy up residential neighborhoods or homes in residential neighborhoods, to come in then and have that rezoned to high-density housing. That has been put in place that is no longer possible in Orem City. But we still need to address the issue of moderate and affordable income housing. So, in addition to the housing issue, we also have the traffic issue, which in the TRIP plan, which is the Mountain Line Association of Governments is involved in that, as well as the state of Utah. UDOT is highly active in that. And because of those state highways that run through our community, they are interested in mitigating the traffic problems that we currently face and that we face in the near future. The TRIP plan that's in place will address all of these traffic issues. I would advise all of you to get online and get a copy of that and see how these visionary people have acted in order to mitigate the growth that is surely coming to our area. It is estimated that within 10 years, Utah County will have a greater population than Salt Lake County. How do we accommodate that? Well, in Orem, we have plans in place. There are things in place right now that will accommodate that growth. So my advice is for all of you, any of you that see this video or that are involved in any way in Orem City, that love your families and want to maintain this family-friendly atmosphere, to be involved in these things. And not to be reactive, but to be active, proactive, and see what has been planned and see the vision and catch the vision yourself as to how great a city Orem is and how great a city Orem will become with the involvement of our residents. I am interested in the residents knowing that I am you. I'm every man, woman, and child who lives in Orem. I have done a multitude of things in my life. As I mentioned, not only did I grow up in a military family, but I also served in the military myself. And prior to coming to Utah, I attended 3 other universities. I've been actively involved in the community. I've been actively involved in the, I don't want to say politics, but in the things that make our community better. I have driven long-haul truck trying to make ends meet as a seminary teacher. I've hauled hay to California during the summers. I've worked at American Coal. I've owned a auto parts store. I've owned restaurants. I've been involved in the high-tech industry. I've been involved in academia. I do all of my own automotive work. I do all of my own building if up to a certain point that I can do that. I know about the water situation, sewer situation, all of the irrigation, the water problems that confront this. There is not anything that I can think of that I have not done to prepare me for this particular position in my life. I believe I am every man and would represent all of the citizens